Imagine your private central banks that run the United States through the Federal Reserve. You control our military. What are you going to do? You're going to take over countries. You're going to seize oil. You're going to have trillions a year in secret weapons sales. You're going to control narcotics. You're going to invade where there is cocaine and heroin. Where is our military in Latin America and Central Asia? Then it begins to come out in BBC, Reuters, AP, that our troops are guarding the opium fields and helping ship it out. What do? You come out in the open like it's no big deal and go, yeah, we're helping grow it, but we don't like it, but we've got to do it. That is what you heard from Fox News on the ground with the Army commander admitting it, with the troops with their heads looking down at the ground. They're not stupid. They know this is a fraud. They know this is a joke. Afghanistan's a small country. With our military and our spray planes, they could have wiped that out and eradicated it. And a few months ago, the Russians said, look, we're losing 30,000 plus people a year. This was in Reuters. And they said, you could eradicate this stuff and stop 30,000 dead a year, kill the poppy fields. And NATO said no. So you remember that when they're brainwashing your kids to spy on you looking for drugs in public school, when they're running anti-drug ads. You remember that our government has been caught over and over and over again in this business, and they keep drugs illegal to keep the price up, and so they can go after their competition. The drug war is about being able to go after their competition. And separately, we told you a year ago with the former father of Reaganomics, the former head of the Treasury, Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, and countless other economists, that first Greece would go under, then Portugal, then Spain, and then 16 other countries. In the last week, now Spain and Portugal are going under. And driving in, I mean, I already knew this. It was in the news. But driving into the office, I was listening to CNN on my XM, and there they were, saying, oh, those evil Greeks, they owe money. Oh, really, to who? They won't give up their pension funds. And they said Germans only get 44% a year of what their yearly salary was. Greeks get 80+%. They didn't tell you, though, that more money's taken out of their check. And they said they've got to stop being greedy, evil citizens, and they've got to pay the IMF and World Bank, which are collecting money for J.P. Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs. The same group. And now we've got J.P. Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs and others, the top 6 big banks, openly pushing to take your pension funds, quote, for failed banks. They just take your money. And so that's the decision you've got to make. Are you going to let these big banks ship in the narcotics, steal everybody blind, use Northcom against the Tea Parties, go after our Second Amendment, or can we just wake up and say, enough is enough, we're not trusting you anymore, you've been caught? I mean, I told you years ago, Goldman Sachs, 10 years ago, I pulled it up, we had George Humphrey interviews, a local economist, former Austin City Council member, who was warning about Goldman Sachs and derivatives and the plan. 10 years ago, I looked it up, 1999, almost 11 years ago. And now it's all happened, and the next phase is America being totally bankrupt and the government raising VAT taxes, financial taxes, environmental taxes, doubling your power bill or more. Austin's already passed it last week. I mean, you cannot make up a raping this bad, because the average American is only watching American Idol and sucking their thumb and has no idea what tyranny is. And I've got to sit there and watch local talk show hosts and national talk show hosts say Alex Jones is wrong, our government doesn't ship drugs in, when they've been caught hundreds and hundreds of times. It's not like I'm just pulling this out of a hat. I mean, in fact, I want him back on. I want Terry Reid back on. He was a CIA commander who was at Mena, Arkansas with Bill Clinton and the cocaine. I want Terry Reid. He wrote Compromise, Clinton, Bush, and the CIA. I want him back on. He hadn't been on in like 6 years. But I mean, now they just come out and say, yeah, we are growing the opium. We are producing the heroin, but just shut up and accept it. We're still going to put you in prison if you use it. Think about that. They ship it in, and then when you use it, they put it in the private prisons. How many judges in Philadelphia and L.A. and Dallas in the news have been caught? Headline. In fact, pull it up right now for folks. Use the Philadelphia headline. That's one I can remember. Philadelphia judges caught putting kids in jail for money. Totally innocent. Private prison. The judges were paid over $2 million. Two judges, $2 million in just a year to put innocent people in prison. They needed an excuse to put you in prison. So they bring in highly addictive substances. They have their pushers sell them to kids in playgrounds. Your kids use them, and then they put your kid in prison making license plates and furniture for them. They don't just sell the drugs. They've re-legalized slavery. This is how they do it. There it is. PA judges accused of jailing kids for cash. Well, they've now pled guilty. Judges allegedly took $2.6 million in payoffs to put juveniles in lockups. That's MSNBC. That's not good enough. Give me the article where they plead guilty. PA judges plead guilty to putting kids in jail for cash. Because I don't just sit up here and make claims. You think I can be on over 80 radio stations and just sit here every millisecond bringing you powerful, shocking information? No. I'm risking my life and everything I am to tell you the truth. Let me tell kids something. You're a new listener. MTV and the movies make cocaine and heroin look cool and ecstasy look cool. It isn't cool. You go to that party when you're 15 and some kid tries to give you drugs. You say, I'm not using CIA drugs. You don't use drugs. You keep your nose clean. You be straight and strong. That's how you beat these criminals that run our society. You stay off their crap. You don't take the bait. You don't bite on the hook. Ex-judge pleads guilty for kids for cash scandal. Philadelphia Inquirer, there it is. $2.6 million. Two judges, tens of thousands of kids in prison, in jail for things they never did, for money. You want to know about the drug war, you want to know what it's for, and then here it is. Greece erupts as men from IMF prepare to wield axe. And the media is posing it like the Greeks are evil. And they deserve this. No, the IMF and World Bank aren't owed this money. This is derivatives they created. And it says protests in Greece turned violent yesterday as youths in gas masks and hoods. And it says tourists were cut off from their hotels as thousands. And it just goes on. This is no to the IMF junta, they chanted as youth in black hoods produced a hammer to smash windows. And they've been caught everywhere in almost every case. They're hired to then make protesters look bad, but it's not working. Another painted slogans on the facade, and demonstrators intervened to prevent him from spraying an Australian woman with paint as she tried to get in a hotel. Japanese tourists stood taking photographs of the mayhem with mobile phones before being forced to retreat. So, and it's on the news. They're saying, oh, we've got to take your pension funds. We've got to take your private bank accounts to pay the bankers. Here's another one. China remains biggest holder of U.S. debt. We've lost our sovereignty. That's Wall Street Journal. Here's another one I want to end the radio broadcast with, okay? Every day, this is in the news. Scores of times. ECB president favors global governance. European Central Bank. We played this last Thursday. Jean-Claude Trichet, the head of the European Central Bank, called for a one-world government to levy carbon taxes, VAT taxes, and other taxes, and that, quote, this is another Wall Street Journal headline, the good times are over. We're going to have our taxes doubled, at least, and have less services. See, once the bankers come and buy off your government and create tens of trillions of dollars in fiat money that your government then owes them, it's all made up, they then come in and say, we run your society, we control your society, we run every facet of your life. It's a bunch of Bertie Madoff, Ken Lay-type scammers taking it to the next level and beyond. Total control of society. And so I ask you now, Are you going to put up with this? Stop being naive. Stop living in denial. Stop being so stupid. Stop demonizing the Tea Parties. Stop demonizing the Constitution. Stop buying into the media saying Tea Parties are going to blow up federal buildings like Clinton said 2 weeks ago. That's baloney. If federal buildings get blown up and they blame it on the Tea Party, you better believe it in the Tea Party. It's the dirty narcotics trafficking central banks that think you're an idiot. If you want to lose your standard of living, if you want to lose your children's entire future, sit there and suck your thumb. Live in denial. You better get angry. You better get informed. You better study history. You better understand the real geopolitical financial grid that we're under, and you better stand up and say no to big government, because big government is the tool that these big central banks use to come in and loot you and rob you through tax money that's paid as corporate welfare. I'll be back live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on your local AM and FM or Infowars.com. Great job, crew. The Republic is going to kick the butt of the New World Order. Hello, this is Alex Jones with some important questions. If you're going into a